So thank you everyone for joining the webinar out of your busy schedules. I'm Avneet Sudan and I'm a member of Logistics Special Interest Group in the San Diego chapter. And today I would be moderating this talk shop, and the topic for today is very interesting, decoding Amazon's secret to logistics. And our panel here consists of my other logistics SIG members, Carmen and Tak, who you see with the green background. And we also have a special guest this evening, Carlos. So a quick introduction about Carlos. He has 21 years of academic and industrial experience in Latin America. He was a full professor at the University of Del Norte in Colombia. He is an assistant professor in Fowler College of Business, SDSU, and has a PhD in industrial engineering. He's a member of several journal and magazine editorial boards, and he also has been an entrepreneur and consultant in various areas like transportation, supply chain, and logistics analytics and optimization software and digital innovation. So welcome, Carlos. We're really excited to have you here, and we are all hoping to have a very candid discussion about, all the trending topics, especially Amazon, which we all consider as a gold standard for order fulfillment. So we would like to just have like deep dive into a few concepts that Amazon does really well. And I would welcome everyone to feel free to post your questions on the chat, any comments, any feedback. We are having like three main segments, which Carlos would be covering. And after every segment, we would have one poll question, and we would take like a few minutes for answering a few questions on the chat. And everything else that we cannot cover, we'll try to get it towards the end. So with that being said, Carlos, over to you.
Thank you, Avneet, and thanks, Tak, Carmen, and Amanda for inviting me for the second time to give a talk on ASCM San Diego chapter. So today's topic is, yes, as Avneet mentioned before, it's called Decoding Amazon Logistics. I don't know if we call it the secrets of Amazon, because they publish everything they do. So I just want to say, let's try to understand what they do a little bit better. Okay. I have brought a quote from one senior manager at Amazon Science. Is customer obsession leads to applied science that has measurable real-world impact. So this is what I'm going to try to focus on, customer obsession and then science. And the integration of the two, to the belief of many of us, is what makes Amazon very successful. So this is a quote from their founder, and they say that the number one thing that has made them successful is obsessive compulsive focus on the customer. I was just going to bring a story that has happened to me like 2 or 3 times with Amazon. And it's like just last week I ordered something from Amazon Fresh. It was a cocktail mixer because we wanted to do some cocktails for the Thanksgiving day. And in the instructions when I was buying, I said that if the delivery was not able to be done on the 22nd, then I would prefer not to bring it over and then cancel or refund the order. They actually delivered it, or at least I got the message that they had delivered on the 23rd. And but the message came with no code for my parcel room. So I was not able to retrieve anything at the time. Then I wrote them, and I asked him, okay, what am I supposed to do? I asked before if you were able to do this, and you said that you would, and then you're telling me that you did, but you haven't. So they actually resent the items, and they said to me, you know what, we're going to refund you for the full first delivery. We're going to send you now just the 1 item out of 3 that you now need. And if you ever get the delivery, just keep it. We're not going to charge you for that. So they have, and yes, I am a Prime member, a member of Amazon Prime. So they do have that in mind. They do have the customer in mind. They do think that it is better to fulfill the wishing list of the customer somehow than rather just leave it out of and then pick up a fight. I mean, they will pick up a fight when they are completely right that you are doing something. One of the research items that they do a lot is security. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But this is the number one thing that they do. Now, Amazon Logistics refers to the Amazon's own in-house package delivery and shipping service. It is a segment of their vast operations that focuses on the delivery of packages to customers. So that's what in some places they also talk about the last mile challenge. Because of it is actually getting to our doorstep. It is actually getting to the customer directly, what they do best. Let's break down some key aspects of what Amazon Logistics is about. I'm going to try to talk on each one of them and try to make it a little bit clearer in that sense. So the first aspect that I'm going to talk about is the delivery network. Sometimes they call it the fulfillment network, the distribution network. You name it, but it's actually your supply chain network, except in all senses. Now, their delivery doesn't talk much about the sourcing, but it's a very important part of it too. It's responsible for last mile delivery of packages to customers' homes, and this includes delivering to Amazon Prime members within 2 days or even 1 day or the same day in some areas, and handling package returns. So this is one of the key aspects that they work a lot on. And they have, I'm going to show some of the science that is behind that in a few slides later. Second part of it is that they do have a system or model that does not include only their, they started a long time ago using UPS, using FedEx, and then they somehow started to develop their own network for delivery, their own resources being applied for delivery. This program right here, which is called Amazon Flex, within Amazon Logistics, allows individuals to sign up as independent contractors to deliver Amazon packages. This has brought up some challenges as well to the company. I will talk about those challenges later. But this is one of the issues that you're going to see a lot. A lot of your delivery drivers are not going to come in a van that says Amazon Prime delivers. Most likely, you're going to see a person with a vest of Amazon coming with her own car to deliver the product to you. So there's this gig economy model helps Amazon expand its delivery network quickly or contract it whenever they don't need it that much. The delivery station is part of the network that they have built. They serve as local hubs for package sorting and distribution. The drivers often start and end their routes at this station. So this is the key turnover point in which drivers from Amazon actually start their routes and build they time the distance to get to the different locations to serve. The next one would be the Amazon Prime delivery. Amazon Logistics plays a crucial role in ensuring Amazon Prime members receive their orders quickly and reliably. Now, to do that, there's part of their work that is simplified by taking care or taking into consideration the fulfillment centers that they have, and I will talk about that in a minute. Tracking and notifications is also something very important from their logistics system. Customers can track their logistics deliveries through the Amazon website or app. They receive real-time updates on the status of their packages. Actually, you can chat to an Amazon consultant online if something is not going the way it's supposed to do. That's what I have been doing this last week, as I mentioned. And innovation, and for me, this is the number one thing that they do. Amazon is known for its focus on innovation in logistics and delivery. And this includes not just the use of GPS. GPS, everybody uses it. But they use delivery drones. They have been doing exploration of autonomous delivery vehicles. Within their efforts for sustainability, they're actually investing a lot of money in electric vehicles too. So this is something that Amazon does very well. The use of new technologies, the use of digitalization technologies, the use of machine learning, AI, quantum technology. I will talk about the research areas in a minute too. And then another key aspect of the work that Amazon does is their expansion model. They continue to invest heavily in expanding its logistics operations, and this includes construction of new fulfillment centers. Actually, the San Diego, Tijuana area has seen that in the past, in the recent past, delivery station and other infrastructure to ensure faster and more efficient delivery. Even making decisions such as coming through a different port in the United States, such as the Port of Houston, instead of the ports in the West Coast. Even such investing in resources such as containers, their own containers. To when there was a container crisis during COVID, they were one of the few that did not suffer that much from that problem. So expanding means not just constructing; it also means procuring. It also means doing joint ventures. It also means buying new companies that we can work on, we can work with. Now, this brings a competitive advantage for them. By having its own logistical and delivery network, they have more control over the delivery process, potentially and positively reducing costs and providing a competitive advantage over other online retailers or brick-and-mortar retailers. But also, it comes with challenges. Operating this massive logistics network is not without them. Amazon has faced a lot of issues related to, for instance, worker conditions, safety, concerns about treatment for delivery drivers, especially in states like ours, in California, where we have very strong work protection regulation. So this is actually something that has been besides all the other challenges that any logistical network has, they do have many challenges in terms of maintaining that logistics set of drivers and the workforce happy in all senses and protected. Now, one key aspect of Amazon is their global reach. They operate not only here in the US, but also in various countries around the world, enabling Amazon to offer its Prime service internationally. Now, there are some countries, of course, that they don't get to, but that's just because of all the backlash that we see from countries that do not like to make business with American-born companies somehow. Now, what makes it possible is actually applied science. I, by the way, have linked or have this presentation is going to be available for everyone. I have given many links to some of the things that I'm saying here along the presentation. And I'm not going to talk about all the areas that they have in Amazon Science to do research on, but I'm going to talk about a few. I had selected 3 of them to talk about, but I'm going to start with the first one, actually, which is automated reasoning. You can type outdoor furniture, drawers, and then the system will recognize that you're trying to buy a cabinet that will be outdoor and that will have drawers, and you will have that for shelving or for storage as a storage facility for the outside. Automated reasoning is actually machine learning being applied at large. It's actually using a lot of mining techniques to get that very few bits of information that you are given to convert that into the vast extensive catalog of products that Amazon has. I'm going to go to the second one that I chose, which is economics. Economics is a set of systems to deliver the broadest selection of products and services at the lowest prices. So what they study here is how you can do business in a different way, how you can change the rules of supply chain distribution, supply chain delivery. So how can you game, bundle, group? How can you fill a truck? How can you order a sequence? How can you take into your advantage the knowledge of the customers, the knowledge of the drivers? Put that all those things together to make a better business model. That's what the economics research brand does, and they do it really well. Another one area that relates to my presentation very, very much is operations research and optimization. They do have a full team called SCOT, Supply Chain Optimization Team. From 2016 and onward, they have been doing, so even from before, but especially from 2016 and onwards, they have been at the forefront of every bit of innovation that Amazon Logistics has done, because of they have built a lot of knowledge into the models that they have done. So if you want to route your drivers, if you want to decide on whether give a route to an on-demand spot driver or to a specific van or to a specific truck, then this is the area of Amazon that does the research on selecting that, on making those decisions. And then I'm selecting the last one there in the list. To be sustainability, they want to be net zero carbon by 2040. So the goals of the century would be to be net zero in 2050. They have been promising to be there 10 years in advance. And that is the reason why they are not just investing in electric vehicles. Sustainability means a lot of things, not just environmental. It means you have to be profitable. You have to be responsible with the environment, but you also have to be responsible with the community, with your community, your drivers, your stakeholders, your shareholders, and also with the customers that you deal with. So all of these areas of research are within GRASP. I mean, you can actually go to this page here, which is called Amazon Science, and you can enter and delve deeper into each one of these different 13 areas that they have. They do hire a lot of researchers. I would probably say that Amazon has more PhD researchers hired and working in joint collaboration than any other company in the world. And that is the reason why applied science actually leads to the work that Amazon does. Amanda, I'm going to make a quick stop so that you can administer the first poll, please.
Thanks, Carlos, for the first segment. So we have a poll. Request everyone to please select your best choices for the first poll. You may select like top 3. Carlos, I think we all agree that Amazon is constantly innovating and optimizing, and it is like really driven by customer obsession. And I really like the part where you mentioned that like they like the control over the processes, right? They do not want to be dependent on a different carrier, so they are like they have their own fleet of airplanes in order to reduce costs. They want to optimize wherever possible and not be dependent. And I've heard like they are also having their own containers and they're chartering ships. So they're trying to see like end to end how they can be more independent and they can like beat the time which other companies take to deliver a product. And that is how we clearly see that sometimes we get a delivery in a few hours. If anyone has questions on this first segment, feel free to drop on the chat or raise your hand. We'll just wait for a couple minutes before we move to the next segment.
Thank you, Avneet. And yes, you grasped at the information that I wanted to convey is so what makes them very successful is that they actually invest a lot in innovation. Their digital technologies are always improving. I'm going to talk in what follows about some of those the technologies that they have used on different areas, such as demand management, such as inventory management, and a first of a kind inventory system that they have managed. So I'm going to wait until we have some questions here. If not, then we can move forward to the second segment, and that will give us time to explore more about the items that they work on. Thank you. So I'm seeing the poll results. 60% of the people said that delivery network was the most important one. Then Amazon Flex. 27. So the 3 more important would be delivery network, tracking and notifications, and innovation. Okay, so I would agree in all of them. I mean, there's no wrong answer to this because this is what you like, what you believe the most. But I would include, in my case, I would give a lot more importance to innovation because that's what makes them more successful. They have a lot of course, the delivery network that they have built actually has to do with the logistics expansion that they have built, that they do. So those 3 for me would be the most important ones. And then to be customer obsessed, tracking and notification actually has to do a lot with it. Okay, thank you.
I do not see any questions, but Tak and Carmen, feel free to
Sure.
share any other thoughts before we move to the next segment.
I'm good. No questions for now.
Mhm. I'll just make one call out. Amazon has tours that is virtually available for anybody that's interested. I've actually done one myself, and it's pretty neat. They actually walk you through all the full receiving and then management, and even look at robotics and things like that. So if you're interested, feel free to go to the website and then take a look at the tours.
Yep. So thank you, Carmen. That is very true. They're not afraid of showing what they have. That's for sure. I can tell you that when I have spoken with some people that I know that works in the several areas in Scott and Amazon Science, they're not allowed while they're on contract to actually talk about what they're doing right now for research. They can talk about what has been published already. So if you go to Amazon Science, you're going to see thousands of publications, but thousands of them. So that's widely available for everyone. And Amazon is not scared of showing what they have done. But what they're doing right now in terms of research, they keep it very secretly so far. So that's why they're wide open in showing what they're doing right now in implementation.
Okay, I think we are at a good point to start with the second segment, which is supply, demand, and inventory management.
Okay. Thank you, Abneed, and thank you, Carmen, for your appreciation. So I'm going to start with this. Again, there's a link here on top to an article that is called The Bridge Between Supply and Demand. So when I teach this, and our programs actually, we call this topic demand management somehow. It's just you have to balance supply and demand. Yes, that's the basic explanation of demand management. They do have an Amazon team called DEX, delivery experience, the delivery experience teams. Their job is to balance the information coming from each and every one of all fulfillment centers around the globe, which items are stored, where, and in what quantities, plus the relevant logistics. But that's one difference that they have. Actually, their model or their modeling tools, their digital technologies are able to not just analyze what the customers are requesting for versus the items that they have stored, where and what, in what quantities everywhere in the world. But they're also including in their modeling abilities the relevant logistics that is needed to accomplish that. So that means that if anything has to be taken from one part of the globe to another, the time, the distance, the risks, everything that goes within the issues of logistics to deliver the packages is included also in the modeling framework. I'm going to talk about that later when I talk about inventory management. But it's also in the modeling stage. So they're not just bound by the walls of a warehouse or to analyze the inventory in which the inventory that you actually have in one warehouse at all. But you also are including in the modeling techniques or in the modeling, you're including things that takes you to bring the packages from one point to another, including the risks, including congestion, including many different variables that put the analysis into a level that we can actually see how efficient it is right now. I'm going to bring a quote from Tian Chen. He's a senior applied science manager at Amazon. He or she. For any delivery speed higher than 2 days, there are so many variables that making an estimate can be difficult. So Amazon built a specific model to predict those speeds. So they're able to predict the speed at which they can operate. We teach that, or we work with that with my students when we do analytics in supply chain. We actually calculate what customers in a network are able to be served within a certain amount of time. So especially for prime customers that you have to deliver in less than 2 days, you have an estimate now of how can you get to the place to what we call available to promise. So you can promise your customer a delivery date with certain level of accuracy. Of course, there will be obstacles. Of course, there will be changes. Of course, there will be dynamics that will make the network change. But that's life. That's just life. That's the stochasticity of life. So to go from supply to demand, or to bridge supply and demand, one of the big things that they do is forecasting and analytics. So demand analytics is at the forefront of their work. Is crucial to go from the product demand from customers to the supplies that you have to produce. It helps ensure the products reach customers on time, that inventory management in the centers is efficient, and that sellers have predictable shipping schedules. So this look at this one last here. They're also worried about not them, but those who sell with them actually have predictable shipping schedules. They have built a lot of forecasting tools, a lot of analytics tools. They use a lot of AI to do this. So AI is not just ChatGPT or Bard, so AI is the use of artificial intelligence to solve problems. So yes, generative AI or artificial general intelligence, which is the next step in generative AI. That's one part of what they do. And they do that for automated reasoning. They do that for chatbots. They do that for many of the things that they do. But they use AI to be able to predict, in this case, to the minute. So they can do a per minute forecast several months ahead of time. We typically forecast the sales that we have. I mean, we record the sales, right? We do have, to the very granular level of raw data for sales, we record that information in our databases, on our data lakes. But making sense of that information is what this tool, which is called CloudTunes, does for them. So CloudTune is able to generate the forecast on a minute-per-minute basis for all Amazon stores, wherever they are in the world, peaks, valleys, and anything with months ahead of time. So that means that they can be prepared for the peaks in Christmas. There was the Thanksgiving break last week, right? And many people order many things for Thanksgiving too, and they can still handle it. They don't have the problems that many of brick mortar companies have been showing for decades. That they get a lot of products, stocked in the yards of ports because they were not able to go and retrieve them. They do have a very well-oiled machinery, logistical machine, that actually is able to include that. So just we do that also. We can actually go product by product, time by time. We can see where those demands are located. We can see what's the difference between price and quantity sold. We can see the correlation. We can see customer retention analytics. This is a dashboard that we built. I built with students from my global supply chain analytics course at San Diego State. And this is just, we can do the forecast. We can use the data as it comes from the database. We don't have to analyze aggregated data. We can analyze the raw data and then find whatever we need on a more dynamic fashion. Now, this has led Amazon to what I consider one of the milestones in Amazon is first of its kind multi-echelon system for inventory buying and placement. The system was developed by Scott. Scott is the supply chain optimization team. I have given you two links in this page. One to a white paper from Amazon itself that explains the system and what the system does, and one's for Scott, which is the supply chain optimization team webpage. There you can see what this project has done for the company. The heart of this dynamic inventory modeling is a multi-product, multi-fulfillment center, capacity constraint model for optimizing the levels in inventory for multiple delivery speeds. This is very important. It's not just optimizing inventory levels. It's optimizing levels for different delivery speeds under a dynamic fulfillment policy. This model is actually one of the very well-guarded things that the Amazon uses on a day-to-day basis. Now, they also have different fulfillment strategies. One of the most successful that we can see today is the Fulfilled by Amazon, the FBA, Capacity Management System. They developed this system, or this a very strong system to do the deliveries. It's designed to reward sellers who use their additional capacity productively to generate sales. So it's not just, you know, you are my seller. I want to manage the inventory for you. So you have to give me your inventory. I will, no, they actually reward the sellers who use the additional capacity productively to generate more sales. If you can generate more sales, you can generate more income, you can generate more profit. If you know how to administer those, of course. The Amazon then applies economic market design principles to manage supply chain capacity. And it's the first time they've done it at the scale with the FBA system. The fulfillment system by Amazon empowers sellers to have more transparency and control over their capacity. And then the productivity of the space allocated through this mechanism is higher than what Amazon would get by doing the allocation internally. This benefits all of them, not just Amazon, but the sellers and also the customers. I want to point out to this system by Amazon, and it's called the multi-channel fulfillment. This is actually Amazon being a 3PL. So think of Amazon now as a big player in town that's going to compete with its vast resources for logistics worldwide with all of the big players in town that have existed for a while. FedEx, UPS, DHL, you name it. Amazon is going to get into that category of being able to analyze that. So if you go to Amazon multi-channel fulfillment, you're going to see what they do with off-Amazon sellers. You're going to see that they work with eBay. They work with Facebook marketplaces. They work with many different off-Amazon sellers, offering their logistic vast resources to you know, make some profit out of it as well, because they have this machinery well-oiled that they can now sell to everybody else. Thank you, Avneet. I will stop for a while too.
Thank you, Carlos. While the poll comes up, this was very interesting. I recently got to know about the multi-channel fulfillment, that they are entering the space. They are expanding on what they do the best, which is like quick delivery. And I'm sure a lot of other manufacturing and distribution companies are struggling to come up with those competitive delivery timelines. And I'm pretty sure they will excel in this field as well. And I'll let everyone get to the poll first. Again, like top 3 choices, please, on this question.
So by the way, we can have a full hour of talk into the inventory multi-echelon system. We can have a full hour of talk into the fill by Amazon or fill by merchant type of systems. We can have a full talk on last mile delivery. So each one of their areas actually has a lot of topics to talk about. We just have to, you know, condense everything into this talk. But feel free to, at the end, I'm going to give you my email. You can write me. I can discuss with you any topics that you are in interest of doing so.
Thank you, Carlos. And I think another thing that you mentioned about the data, right? Like all the companies have the data, but understanding the data enough, especially from different sources, and using it in the way that makes sense is requires like a lot of mind power, or like the technology power, and even, you know, just understanding the processes end to end. So for example, in our company, we are still struggling to provide like an estimated delivery date to our customers based on not only what is in inventory, but also what is in transit, right? Like if customer places an order, especially B2B, what is there in-house versus what is in transit, what is being manufactured, what does their schedule look like, and like what do we tell the customers? Is it available in a week, 10 days, 2 weeks? Like what is like realistic? We are still not there yet. And Amazon, at least for B2C, it does it like beautifully. So definitely we have all the data. It's just like getting all the data together and deriving useful information, which we can bring it in front of our customers.
That is true, and thank you. I'm seeing the results of the poll. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but thank you for pointing that out, Avneet. So from my perspective, available to promise is one of the things that still needs to be analyzed very thoroughly in industry. And yes, when you take into account the customer needs, the customer time windows, the customer specifications of delivery, and I'm going to talk about that in the next session. And then you include in your analysis not just the customer side, but also your capacities. That's when you can balance that. And yes, the data, you have it in your ERP system, in your databases. It's just a matter of understanding it and getting. So you know, there was a time in which you would say information is power. So for me, information just leads to knowledge, and knowledge leads to wisdom. So you have to follow that path. You gotta be informed. That's information. And then with that informed kind of thing, you have to be knowledgeable on what you do. And that takes a step. That takes the right tools. That takes the right people analyzing using those tools to make the right analysis. When you do that, then you get the wisdom. And that's what I believe Amazon has done really well for many, many years to get to a point in which they are actually implementing those things in real life.
And I have
So,
another comment actually for everyone who's on the call today. If you have even any kind of like pain areas, right? Like
yeah,
I described here, if you have anything else that comes to your mind while you're listening to these topics, please put that in the chat. Even if we don't get it today, we can think about other like talk shop series, which we can bring up, focusing on those pain points. So any ideas, any kind of pain areas, any questions, feel free to add it to the chat as well.
thank you. So by watching the results in the poll, I see that product availability and order accuracy actually are something that I would agree with very much. Then you have demand forecasting and order fulfillment at second level. Inventory accuracy is one thing that I would say that would get better attention, and this is true. We tend to not consider in industry that much accuracy of our inventory. So I have seen when we calculate logistics inefficiencies in companies that 18, 20, 22, 25% of inventory inaccuracy, not accuracy, inaccuracy is actually quite common. So to be able to give the speed in fulfillment that they give, they have to maintain an accurate level of inventory in every fulfillment center that they have. So this is something that I would agree with the rest of it. I would probably give a lot more importance to inventory accuracy as well. The more accurate you are in your inventory management policies, the less inventory you carry on. See, that's there's a direct relationship, and yes, with less inventory, you lead to lower costs. That's one thing that I would think of this one as a very important one, and I try to emphasize it in the talk. But the other two, the product availability, which actually relates to accuracy of inventory, and the order accuracy, which actually it's more related to the customer, then I would definitely consider that to be correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carlos. I see Tak has his hand up.
Yeah, I just
yeah.
wanted to comment. I think great discussion, great points. I think just following up, Avneet, from your point about trying to get useful information.
Yeah.
I think we live in a stage where we're not short of information. What we struggle with a lot of companies, mine included, is converting that information into useful intelligence.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And just being in that ecosystem before at Amazon Logistics is they have made intelligence very accessible to any operational leader. I mean, you don't have to have a PhD. The PhDs are behind the scenes, crunching the numbers like you cannot believe, right? It'll blow your mind. But your dashboard is simple enough for you to run your daily ops up to your 2-minute window, your 15-minute windows. It's all there. And then, before you know it, in 2 weeks or a month, there's a new tool because somebody's figured out a better way to present it there. And that's just that ecosystem that is just constantly improving and innovating. So it's very exciting. Not easy to work for, but they have been able to do a lot of heavy lifting to make that information into intelligence. And then when you come into a different industry, you realize oh, you're spoiled at Amazon. It doesn't exist because all that is just disparate information in different databases, and you got to put a lot of data science to stitch it together. And then most people just give up after a while, right? So it's just different.
Thank you, Tak. You just made my day, because that's what I tried to say when I said go from information to knowledge and to wisdom. So yeah, it's exactly that. And by the way, so that you know, one of the largest, better paid jobs when you get out of college right now is well, of course, all the AI boom is shifting a little bit towards that side, the higher salaries for technical knowledge. But guess what? When you are able to analyze data and convert it into intelligent data, into that knowledge that I'm talking about, the wisdom to making decisions, like you said, you know, you don't need to have a PhD to be managing, but you're going to have a lot of support from either the people behind you or the technology that gives you that thing. You just mentioned it. 15 days from now, most likely there's a change in the technology that will be implemented by Amazon again. And that's the way businesses, I mean, you either unique or you differentiate in some way. They differentiate in innovation, in applied science. So that's what we can do. And by the way, we can all do it. We don't have to have a lot of PhDs hired. We just have to, you know, focus on the core of our business. For them is, I want to get to my customer. So I need to understand the customer. I'm obsessed with the customer, and I need to get the products to the customer the way they want it, the faster way that I can do it. So if you can get to the core of your business and then have the right people hired to do the science behind you, behind the numbers, to crunch the numbers and give you that information, that's the good way to go. Thank you.
So Carlos, for this last segment, which is fulfillment and last mile delivery, we might have to shrink it to like 5 to max 7 minutes. I want to leave like a few minutes for questions in the end.
Sure, I'm going to skip a slide then.
Okay.
No worries. So the last segment would be to take care of what they have in fulfillment and last mile delivery. So the map that you're seeing is the 8 regions that they have built. Amazon's network for fulfillment centers or intermediate sorting centers and last mile delivery hubs were successfully restructured into 8 largely self-sufficient regional networks. When I say self-sufficient, is that 76%, the target is 80%, but 76% of the deliveries that have to be done within each region is actually fulfilled from the same region. So that means that's the reason why you can actually give 1 day, same day, 2-day delivery to prime customers, because you are very close to them. You don't have to actually traverse the whole United States road network to be able to do that. Besides that, as opposed to European countries in which railroads are very extensive networks, we don't have that luxury here in the US. So you either ship by air or you either ship by road. You don't use a multi-mode network very extensively as some other countries in the world do. Especially in the European network, where you have rivers, you have very synchronized operations between the things, between the modes. So, but Amazon, just in the US, has been able to actually take it close to 76% of the fulfillment is done within the same region. Now, they have also explored techniques from the SCOT organization in testing this. Their target is actually to get only 20% of demand being fulfilled out of the region. Everything else is actually local at a 40% level, and then there's another 40% which is at the regional level. But out of the region is actually, their target is to be only 20%. And that's how they have to actually build that multi-echelon, multi-product, multi-region, multi-fulfillment center inventory model. It's very successful for them to do that. Now, it's not just to build the network or the fulfillment centers network. It's also to build it inside, to decide the rack size, to decide the aisle size, to decide how to locate, how to sort dynamically, because demand is not static in time. To use automation, the picture on the left upper side will tell you, okay, they're moving a whole rack actually with an AGV robot. So yeah, they have done extensive use of optimization techniques to optimize where each one product goes into the warehouse. So as Tack was mentioning before, for you, it will be easy. This is actually a chaotic system of warehousing. It's not a segmented or a fragmented system of warehousing. You actually can locate the systems where they are supposed to dynamically be more efficiently to be picked up later when they're going to be delivered. So this is something that they do on a regular basis. They calculate effective space utilization. They design different storage configurations. They identify the best or the most efficient placement of goods and equipment. This is warehousing science. Mixed together with the inventory science, with the fulfillment side, with the delivery side, science, etc. Now, I wanted to bring out something. If you, like 10 years ago, and I was talking with Abney before the meeting, 10 years ago, you could actually spot eventually in the same block 2 trucks from Amazon. But this is not particularly only to retailers. If you work on a cement company, and I have consulted those in the past, I have seen a truck coming in to drop off things, and then a truck coming in to pick up things. So 2 trucks coming in, one for drop off, one for pickup, and you never talk to each other. So this slide, I bring it because that was the motivation to enhance this system, which is called Condor inside Amazon, Customer Order and Network, this density optimizer. And I was talking, Condor actually, you know, they fly very high, and they actually have a very panoramic view of the world. That's what this system does, actually. It actually manages to not have the same truck doing, you know, 2 trucks doing deliveries at the same time. They can have different deliveries on a day, of course, but that's just because one truck could not be loaded with all of the things that could go on the same route. So routing actually takes into account the network density, takes into account the truck density, how you load the truck, how you build all the options, and this has helped avoid millions of miles driven and has boosted sustainability quite effectively in Amazon. The main core of this system is that it simultaneously determines how orders are split into shipments and the sourcing fulfillment center for each to which is assigned for each shipment. Now, my last slide would be on last mile delivery. So the left-hand side upper is a system that I have designed before. It's a routing system. Now, this is typical. You can see many solutions in industry for routing. What you do not see are, and I have brought only 2. Things that Amazon does. What you do not see very often is, for instance, the image on the bottom right is actually a system that they call GeoRank. This is for accuracy of delivery location. The red spot or the red circle is actually the address where you're supposed to drop the good. All the dark blue circles are previous deliveries to that same address that the GPS network has sensed before. The blue, light blue circle is the centroid of all of those previous information data that we have in our network. So if we use the centroid, then most likely what you're going to see there is that the driver is going to be parking the truck away or farther away from the place that they have to deliver. And this actually causes delays in delivery. This breaks the time windows. And this is what they have done. They have built a system that actually tried to predict that if you are in a second floor on a building, they know the closest way to park to that building so that you can get a faster delivery of your goods. This is really neat in terms of science. This is really good science applied to logistics. But the second piece of it is that and this actually was a challenge that they built with MIT, with the MIT Center for Transportation and Logistics. So researchers from all over the world were invited to participate in this. I have given you a link to the research paper of the winning team of this challenge. They have combined the things on the left upper side, the routing technologies, optimization technologies, with the knowledge driver, with the customer information. They have been able to use AI to massively integrate the knowledge of the driver, of which, for instance, if you're in New York, Manhattan, and you're delivering to a certain location in Manhattan, you know that you're not going to park easily in Manhattan because you're either going to have to pay a lot of money or you're either going to pay a fine because you parked in the wrong spot. So they have managed to build this whole lexical information system with a lot of knowledge from the drivers that are delivering on a region specifically with the routing techniques. In that way, they have been able to improve the accuracy of the delivery. They have been able to improve the time at which they know that the goods are going to be received with the least amount of potential robberies from the location that you drop it off. Most of the time, you're going to drop off at the door. And then you know that because you get that in the system, if you open your door and the package is not there, it's because somebody took it. So when you, as a customer, write down that back to the company, they take that into account and see what's the time window that's happening the most. That's data taken into an advantage.
Hey, Carlos, I just want to do a time check.
I'm done.
We have 4 minutes.
I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Amanda, I know we have another poll that you would be bringing up, but great insights. I mean, the last mile delivery is definitely a challenge, and I guess the most challenging, especially for B2C, and they are constantly mastering that as well.
Thank you. And by the way, what they have done on a B2C scale, it can also be done on a B2B scale. As I told you, if you're going to deliver goods to a mom and pop store or a corner store in the middle of Manhattan, in wherever you want, in Old Town, and you know you cannot park everywhere, or you know you have to get the fastest as you can to deliver your products without being penalized for being parked in a wrong spot or something like that. So that information taken into consideration actually helps a lot into the deliveries. So it can be done not just for B2C, it can be done for B2B as well.
Thank you. And we only have 3 more minutes, so I would just encourage everyone else to please share any thoughts, questions, anything else that you have always wondered about Amazon, and you want to use this opportunity
Carmen has
to
a
ask.
question. So before Carmen asks a question, so if you want to reach out to me, because I see that we have very few time, Avneet. So this is my email. You can reach out to Amanda, and then they can tell me whatever questions come, or you can write me an email directly. This is my email here. This presentation, by the way, is going to be available for everyone. The last link is for our Supply Chain Innovation Masters program. Just take a look at it. This is where we teach all the things that are included in this presentation.
Thank you, Carlos.
I'm going to let Carmen ask the question first before talking about the poll.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So Carlos, thank you so much for the presentation. Definitely learned a lot from it. My question is, for companies that are not Amazon, what would be 1, maybe 2 things that you would recommend that, we could start with, right? As part of this optimization journey.
So before you optimize, you have to understand your business. And when I say, it's not, so I don't go to a company to do a consulting job telling you that you should understand better your business. That, at the end, that's what you should do. But you have to tell them, you know how to do your things. I know how to analyze things. Maybe with the better analysis that I'm going to teach you how to do, you're going to understand better the things that you are going to do. So it's like a game of words that we use, but definitely what you have to do is understand your business better. Data is there, as I told you before. So the first step that I would do before optimization is you have to understand who your customer is, what your customer wants, what your network is able to offer. And then when you have all the data together, when I talk to my students, for instance, I tell them, or to any company that I work with, I tell them, see, you want to know or understand if any one of 4, 5, 6 different shipping modes that you're using, same day delivery, priority, whatever, are all of those actually effective? Are all of those giving you profit? Or are you leaking profit somehow? Are all your segments equally profitable? If not, what is going on with the least profitable segment? Are all your categories, subcategories, products, you can drill down to whatever. It is one customer in particular draining your profit. Those kind of analysis have to be done before you start optimizing your network. Typically, what we used to do 10 years ago, and I'm telling you, I did that before, is I bring my tools and I ask the company, give me your demand, give me your capacity, give me your locations, give me your sourcing. And then I would put all of those into a model and I will give you the results, which is an optimized network based on the data that you gave me. Now I ask the company to give me the raw data for sales. I ask the company to give me the raw data for resource utilization. When I am able to see at the raw level, at the very basic level, I am able to crunch the numbers better and then find that wisdom that I'm looking for before I optimize. Do you follow my lead? So it's first you have to analyze, understand better what you do, and then you optimize, and then you go back to analyze. It's a cycle that never stops. That's why Tag was saying 15 days later, you're going to have something new. That is true.
And I think it also begins with hiring the right talent as well, right? Like investing
Yes.
in that talent, those industrial engineers and the people who are experts in analysis, so that we are not always in that firefighting mode. And we have people
Yeah.
like deep diving and focusing on these kind of observations.
Right. It's just breaking the barrier between science and implementation. You know, there's no science used to be obscure. It's not obscure anymore. Science is available. Science is there for helping humanity, in this case, businesses. So if you have hired the right people, as Avnit says, you're going to be able to, you know, you're entailing yourself a lot of leverage into managing your company better.
I know we are a bit over time. We'll
Yeah.
just wrap up this poll and then
Yes.
we
Thank you.
would
Completely
hopefully.
agree with the poll. So the poll actually said that delivery time window, delivery tracking, delivery accuracy is actually things that they actually do a lot with. I would expect customer interaction to be more than zero. This was interesting to me, but yes, in the case of Amazon, so for instance, if you have a delivery to make, and if it is business to business, then that relationship has been there for a while. So most likely your interaction with the customer comes previous to the delivery process and post delivery process. So in between, there's most likely not going to be that much interaction. Well, that's what Amazon makes a lot with their drivers, with the customer itself. So I would have expected a little bit more than 0% here, but then I definitely agree that these three first were are you know at the very top. Thank you.
I know we are out of time. I'm sure you have more questions.
Right.
If you did not have an opportunity to ask here, please feel free to email us, email Carlos, and hopefully in the future sessions we can offer much more as the logistics special interest group of San Diego chapter. Last but not the least, thank you very, very much, Carlos, for taking time out of your busy schedule and educating everybody on some of the factors which makes Amazon what it is today, and the way that they are constantly improving and raising the bar higher and higher every day. So thank you very much for sharing all your knowledge.